Once you know this secret, keep your mouth shut. If I told you that talking about your goals literally destroys your ability to achieve them, and there's neuroscientific proof documenting exactly why announcing your intentions sabotages your success. Your brain cannot distinguish between talking about doing something and actually doing it. When you announce your plans, your brain's reward circuits fire as if you've already accomplished the goal. You get a dopamine hit from social recognition, your nervous system relaxes, and your motivation to execute evaporates. This isn't superstition nonsense. This is hard science. Researchers at NYU, the University of Pennsylvania, and Dartmouth have documented what psychologists call social reality, the phenomenon where public declaration creates psychological completion without actual achievement. Your brain treats external validation as achievement, eliminating the tension that drives action. Ancient mystery schools from Egyptian initiates to Pythagorean brotherhoods enforced strict silence about inner work. They called it sacred silence or the seal of secrecy. They understood something profound. Speaking dissipates the energy required for manifestation. The most successful people follow an unspoken rule. They work in silence and let results make noise, while everyone else broadcasts intentions and delivers excuses. High achievers operate in strategic silence and deliver outcomes. I'm about to expose 10 silence protocols that transform how you approach goals, relationships, and personal development. Each technique reveals why keeping your mouth shut isn't withholding its concentrating power. Master these, and you're not hiding, you're harnessing the neurological and psychological forces that only activate in silence. Your words are leaking your power. Time to seal the leak. Part 1. The social reality prevention you announce goals to create. Accountability. Every announcement actually reduces your likelihood of achievement by triggering premature satisfaction in your brain's reward system. NYU psychologist Peter Galwitzer's research proves that telling people your goals creates social reality. Your brain experiences acknowledgement as partial completion. The dopamine release from social recognition satisfies the very hunger that should drive you toward actual achievement. This is technique number 1 out of 10, the social reality prevention for the next 90 days. Keep every significant goal completely private. Tell no one, not friends, family, or social media. When asked about your plans, respond vaguely, I'm working on some things. Document your goals privately in a journal visible only to you. Share outcomes only after achievement, never intentions before execution. Social recognition activates the same neural reward circuits as actual accomplishment. By eliminating premature recognition, you preserve the psychological tension that fuels sustained effort. You're protecting your motivation from the dopamine leak that occurs when others validate your intentions. Studies show that people who keep goals private are 40% more likely to achieve them. Silence preserves the energetic charge required for manifestation. Start practicing strategic silence about goals and watch your achievement rate multiply as motivation stays concentrated rather than dissipated. Part 2. The energy conservation protocol. Every time you explain yourself, defend your choices, or justify your decisions, you're hemorrhaging mental and emotional energy that should fuel your execution. Psychologist Roy Baumeister's research on ego depletion demonstrates that explaining and defending consume the same limited willpower resource required for goal pursuit. You're draining your tank through unnecessary verbal expenditure. This is technique number 2 out of 10, the energy conservation protocol. Adopt a personal policy: never explain, never defend, never justify unless legally or professionally required. When questioned about your choices, respond with simple acknowledgement. I hear you, or that's one perspective. Refuse to elaborate. Practice this boundary for 60 consecutive days, tracking how often you're tempted to explain yourself. Justification activates your prefrontal cortex's language centers, diverting cognitive resources from execution centers. Every explanation is energy you're not spending on action. You're conserving psychological resources by refusing to engage in unnecessary verbal defense. Confident people rarely explain themselves. They understand that justification signals uncertainty and drains energy that should power progress. Start refusing to explain yourself and watch mental energy multiply as you stop bleeding resources through defensive dialogue. Part 3. The strategic opacity method. You share your methods, strategies, and approaches openly. This isn't generosity, it's diluting your competitive advantage and inviting interference disguised as advice. Research on competitive dynamics shows that information asymmetry creates advantage. When others know your playbook, they can consciously or unconsciously counteract your moves. Silence creates strategic unpredictability. This is technique number 3 out of 10, the strategic opacity method. Identify your 3 most important current projects or pursuits. Create a strict information firewall around these. Share nothing about your methods, timing, or specific strategies. Discuss only completed results, never processes in progress. When asked how you're approaching something, respond, "I'm figuring it out as I go." Maintain this opacity for 6 full months. Revealing your strategy invites criticism, doubt, and interference even from well-meaning people. Their input introduces external noise into your internal process. You're maintaining operational security around your methods, so external opinions can't corrupt your execution. Military strategists, business leaders, and elite athletes all operate with strategic opacity. They understand that revealing plans invites countermeasures. Start protecting your methods through silence, and watch your execution improve as external interference evaporates. Part 4. The observation over reaction discipline. React immediately to events, problems, and provocations. Every reaction is information you're giving away, revealing your triggers, insecurities, and emotional patterns. Neuroscientist Paul Ekman's research on microexpression shows that reactions provide others with detailed maps of your psychological vulnerabilities. Silence during emotionally charged moments protects your psychological landscape from being read and exploited. This is technique number 4 out of 10, the observation over reaction discipline. When facing provocation, criticism, or emotionally charged situations, implement a mandatory 48-hour silence policy before responding. During these 48 hours, observe your internal reactions without expressing them. Write observations privately. After 48 hours, decide if response is necessary. Practice this for 40 consecutive instances. Immediate reaction bypasses your prefrontal cortex and exposes raw emotional responses. The 48-hour buffer allows your executive function to evaluate whether response serves you. You're choosing strategic response over automatic reaction, protecting your psychological cards. Master negotiators use strategic silence after provocations because immediate reaction reveals weakness, measured response demonstrates strength. Start implementing the 48-hour silence buffer and watch your power grow as others can no longer read or manipulate your emotional patterns. Part 5. The silent observation advantage. Talk during meetings, conversations, and social situations to prove your value. Every word you speak is information you're giving, while information you can gain is lost. Research on conversational dynamics shows that people who speak less and listen more gather exponentially more strategic intelligence. Silence creates vacuum that others fill with revealing information. This is technique number 5 out of 10, the silent observation advantage. In every meeting, conversation, or social interaction, set a personal rule. Speak 30% less than your natural tendency. When you feel the urge to contribute, pause and observe instead. Ask questions rather than offering statements. Document what you learned from increased listening. Practice this recalibration for 50 consecutive social interactions. Silence shifts you from information provider to information gatherer. People interpret your silence as deep listening, causing them to reveal more than they intended. You're turning every interaction into strategic intelligence gathering, while building a reputation as thoughtful rather than reactive. Interrogators, therapists, and master negotiators use silence strategically. They know that silence makes others uncomfortable enough to fill the void with valuable information. Start talking less and observing more, and watch your strategic understanding deepen as others reveal what they never consciously share. Part 6. The premature celebration elimination. Celebrate small wins publicly. This triggers dopamine release that your brain interprets as arrival rather than progress, eliminating the hunger that drives continued effort. Behavioral psychologist Eilert Fishbach's research demonstrates that early celebration creates false sense of completion. Your brain's motivation system shuts down because it believes the mission is accomplished based on the celebration, not the actual achievement. This is technique number 6 out of 10, the premature celebration elimination. Ban all public celebration until final goals are completely achieved. When you hit milestones, acknowledge them privately in your journal with one sentence. Then immediately focus on the next action. Share nothing externally. Reserve your required for ultimate achievement. Start eliminating early celebration and watch your sustained effort intensify as your brain stays hungry rather than satisfied. Part 7. The relationship silence strategy. Discuss your relationship problems with friends, family, and social media. Every external voice introduces contamination into a two-person system that should remain sealed. Psychologist John Gottman's research on relationship success shows that couples who keep their relationship dynamics private show 60% higher satisfaction and stability. External input creates confusion, misalignment, and introduces agendas that don't serve the partnership. This is technique number 7 out of 10, the relationship silence strategy. Establish a relationship privacy policy. Never discuss relationship problems, conflicts, or intimate details with anyone outside the relationship except professional therapists if needed. When friends ask probing questions, redirect, "We're working through things together." Maintain this boundary for 12 consecutive months. Communicating only with your partner about partnership dynamics. External opinions about your relationship activate confirmation bias. People hear what confirms their existing beliefs about relationships. This corrupts your direct experience with external narratives. You're protecting your relationship from becoming a committee project. The strongest relationships operate as sealed systems. Partners understand that outside voices dilute the intimacy and understanding that only two people can build. Start maintaining relationship silence and watch partnership depth increase as external noise stops corrupting your direct connection. Part 8. The financial discretion code. You discuss your income, investments, and financial moves. Money conversations activate comparison, envy, and judgment that damage relationships while providing zero benefit to you. Research on social comparison and wealth shows that financial disclosure creates negative dynamics. Regardless of your position, resentment from those with less, competitive pressure from those with more. Silence eliminates these toxic dynamics. This is technique number 8 out of 10, the financial discretion code. Adopt absolute financial privacy. Never disclose income, savings, investments, or purchases unless legally required. When asked about finances, respond, "I'm doing fine, thanks." Share nothing on social media that signals wealth or spending. Practice this discretion indefinitely as permanent lifestyle policy. Financial disclosure activates primitive social comparison mechanisms. Others unconsciously begin evaluating your worth, feeling entitled to your resources, or judging your choices. You're protecting yourself from these negative social dynamics while maintaining genuine connections based on character, not wealth. Wealthy individuals rarely discuss money. They understand that financial discretion prevents toxic dynamics while protecting them from becoming targets. Start practicing absolute financial discretion and watch your relationships improve as money discussions stop poisoning authentic connection. Part 9. The transformation silence window. You document and share your self-improvement journey, weight loss photos, sobriety milestones, personal growth insights. Public documentation creates performance pressure that often triggers self-sabotage and relapse. Psychologist James Prohaska's research on behavioral change shows that public accountability during transformation often increases pressure to the point of abandonment. Silence during change protects fragile new patterns from external pressure. This is technique number 9 out of 10, the transformation silence window. During any significant personal transformation, health changes, addiction recovery, career transitions, personal development, maintain complete public silence for the first 180 days. No social media upgrades, no casual mentions, no progress sharing. Document privately only. Share only after the new pattern is solidified. Repeat this protocol for every major transformation. Early stage behavioral change is neurologically fragile. External attention creates performance pressure and invites opinions that can derail delicate new neural pathways. You're protecting nascent transformation from the pressure and interference that often cause relapse. Successful transformations happen in silence. Public announcements during vulnerable periods invite failure through pressure and scrutiny. Start maintaining silence during transformation and watch your success rates soar as fragile new patterns solidify without external interference. Part 10. The power accumulation of factors. Something that will blow your mind. Silence itself accumulates as psychological power. The less you reveal, the more gravitas and influence you naturally develop. Social psychologist Robert Greene's research on power dynamics demonstrates that strategic silence creates mystique and perceived depth. People project competence, wisdom, and strength onto those who speak less regardless of actual capabilities. This is technique number 10 out of 10. The power accumulation effect. Reduce your overall verbal output by 50% across all contexts for 90 consecutive days. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this necessary? If uncertain, remain silent. Let others fill conversational space. Observe how others' perception of you shifts. Document changes in how people interact with you. Increased respect. Deeper listening when you do speak. More influence. Silence creates psychological space that others interpret as depth. Your reduced output makes each word carry more weight. Your building presence through absence. Your scarcity increases your value in social dynamics. Leaders across history from Buddha to Mandela mastered strategic silence, understanding that power grows in the space between words, not in the volume of words. Start speaking 50% less and watch your influence multiply as silence transforms into perceived wisdom and accumulated power. Closing, these 10 protocols aren't about hiding, they're about concentrating the psychological, emotional, and strategic power that leaks through unnecessary disclosure. You're not becoming secretive, you're becoming strategic. Social reality prevention protects motivation. Energy conservation protocol preserves willpower. Strategic opacity method maintains competitive advantage. Observation over reaction discipline safeguards psychological vulnerabilities. Silent observation advantage gathers intelligence. Premature celebration elimination sustains hunger. Relationship silence strategy protects intimacy. Financial discretion code prevents toxic dynamics. Transformation silence window shields fragile change. Power accumulation effect builds gravitas through verbal restraint. Ancient wisdom traditions from mystery schools to monastic orders understood that silence isn't empty, it's concentrated. Words dissipate energy. Silence accumulates it. Every unnecessary disclosure is power you're giving away. Modern psychology and neuroscience confirm what mystics knew. Your brain cannot distinguish between symbolic completion through social recognition and actual completion through achievement. Silence preserves the tension required for manifestation. Your transformation doesn't start tomorrow or next week. It starts the moment you stop announcing your next goal. It starts when you refuse to explain yourself. It starts when you observe rather than react. The version of you with accumulated power, protected energy, and strategic advantage, that person emerges through what you stop saying, not what you start saying. Your future self is waiting in the silence you've been afraid to hold.